Hey, I'm Nick with MPS Specialty Services, and just a brief overview of what we've done here today is we've installed our transducer for the Suzuki SMD7. That's also made by Furuno. We took the measurements, we followed the instructions given to us by the manufacturer. Remember, always measure twice, drill once, run the drill in reverse so we don't chip any gel coat. Just take your time with everything. So the old one we pulled out was NEMA. So this plug is definitely not gonna fit in this hole. And it's never a good idea to cut these transducer wires and like splice them together so you don't have to make a new hole. You can have some issues with RF noise and frequency issues with it because this is a shielded cable. And if you cut that, you break that shield. So best thing to do is if you got to make a bigger hole, you just got to make a bigger hole, you know. And so there was an existing hole here that we're just going to widen out. We've got the proper drill bit for it. Now, when drilling a hole into gel coat, because that's the outside material of this hole is gel coat. Anytime, I mean, if you're running just even a screw in there and you're pre-drilling it, anytime you're drilling into it, you always want to run the drill backwards first so that you can take away that edge of gel coat before you actually run it clockwise and start drilling, because once you take away that edge, you're decreasing the chance of chipping the gel coat or cracking the gel coat tremendously. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and kind of just do a little puncture there of our tape. Make sure our drill is running backwards, which it is. Lefty loosey, righty tighty, but we are running it backwards. And so you can see we're starting to eat away at the gel coat, but we're not chipping it. I think we've pretty well rounded out the edges of any potential issues. So again, we're going to take our time drilling it in. And so now I've switched the direction of the drill. And so ideally, we peel this tape back. Should be a nice clean surface underneath. And that's what we want to see right there. Nice and clean, really. You know, didn't have any trips or cracks that ran down past where we wanted the hole. And now the hole should be big enough to fit this cable in through. So there we go, there you have it. All right. So there's a bunch of rules and instructions here that will probably come with your transducer. This is a transom mount transducer, so the first thing that we need to do is we need to identify the angle at which the transom is set at. So once we do that, then we'll figure out what holes we need to drill. So basically any transoms angle between 2 degrees through 15 degrees, we're going to be drilling the A hole. Drill locations labeled B with the transom angles 16 degrees through 22. So right now we don't know exactly what our transom angle is. If I was a betting man, we're probably going to be drilling A. So, and then you want to find a level surface. I know this bench is level, so I'll take my level surface here, take my angle finder, and this will tell us 100% if it's level, because we should be at 0 degrees, which we are. And then we'll slide it over and then tilt it, and this should be our angle here at which we're going to be operating which we're right at about 11-12 degrees. So that should fall into our A pattern hole. So again, we'll reiterate, from drill at locations labeled A for transom angles between 12 degrees through 15 degrees, which they say most boats, and that's where we fall in between. We're kind of right in that happy medium of, we're about 11-12 degrees. So what it's saying is wherever we want to mount this, so this is essentially our bracket right here. Wherever we're wanting to mount this, we need to make sure it's parallel to the water line. So it's not mounted at an angle like this or mounted at an angle like this. You want it to be parallel with the water line. So we've got our 9/64 drill bit here, and we're going to take a measuring tape because the instructions just say to drill 7/8 of an inch deep. So I'll take my measuring tape. It's going to be right at the tip of my finger there. Should be right about there, and then I'll just double check the measurement real quick. That's 7/8 on the nose. You can just wrap this tape around the drill bit. That way we know how deep we're supposed to drill. Once we get to the edge of that tape, that's as deep as we need to go. The 9/64 bit that we originally drilled in with, which is the correct and appropriate size for the screws that we're going to be using. But again, I want to be careful. I err on the side of caution here. So I'm going to take an 11/64, which is 2 sizes up. And I'm just going to run just the tip here. We're just going to run the drill in reverse just to take away that outer ledge of gel coat so that we don't accidentally chip the gel coat when we're putting the screws in. And this is the bracket piece we're going to be installing. Again, we're going to dry fit it first. We're not going to add any 4200 or 5200 or whatever you may add. We're going to do 4200. In my experience, electronics advance, and so in 5-10 years, whenever it may be, if he wants to replace this transducer with something even more new and highfalutin, then it's not going to be a nightmare for him to pull screws out and pull this transducer out. We just want to keep, you know, the water from penetrating the transom. So what we're going to do now is we have the mount dry fitted to the transom with our 3 screws in there. What we're going to do is we're going to back them up just a hair, probably, you know, 1/8 of an inch or so, just so we can get some play out of this. These are slots here where you can adjust the height of it, and they want us to have 1.5 inches from this bottom corner down to the edge of the transom. So we'll loosen it up just a hair, and then take a measurement, and then once we have that measurement and where we want it, we'll snug these back down, and then I'm going to take a pencil and mark it on the transom, and then we will pull the whole bracket and all the screws out, and then we'll get ready to fix it permanently. We'll get the 4200 out and fill the holes so we don't have any water intrusion. So again, we're going to be using 4200. I mean, this is even still a little bit on the heavier side. I would not recommend using 5200. You would be totally fine if you wanted to use 4000. 3M makes a great product when it comes to like adhesive sealants for a marine application. For us, I think we're just going to use the 4200. I already have a tube of it open from a previous job, so we'll go ahead and use that and get these holes filled. And then I've gone ahead and taken my measurements. So this is 1.5 inches from the edge here to this is the bottom of the transducer mount. So we know we have our 1.5 inches, and that's level as well. So all we got to do is just line up the bottom mount once we get these holes 4200'd up, and then send the screws on home. So we've got our transducer mounted. It is, per the instructions, they want it pretty well level with the bottom of the boat, which we took a straight edge and checked that, and it is dang near dead nuts on that. So then the last steps we really have to do is we're gonna route this cable over and then straight up, and we're gonna use some cable clamp screws. We're gonna use the same method as we did for mounting this. We're just gonna take a drill bit, we're gonna put a little piece of tape over, run it backwards. Remember, always run your drill bit backwards first, and then we're gonna drill in the spots where we wanna put our clamps. Then we'll clamp 4200 at first, then run them down and clamp it. When we get up to here, we have this, I call them little scuppies, but we'll put that right there, cover our hole. We're gonna fill this hole up with 4200, and we're gonna apply it very liberally so that we don't have any water intrusion. But past that, we should be pretty much done mounting the transducer. We'll then run the cable, chase it up through the boat, up to the helm, and plug it into the back of our SMD, and we should be done. Thanks guys for joining us today. If you have any projects you need help with or want us to take on for you, whether it be electrical, electronics, and transducers like we did today, you can give us a call at the number below. If you found this video interesting, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Thanks and have a great day.